Welcome to Maths with EJD, a place where I take you through different mathematical concepts. For starters, we'll be looking at the concepts of matrices. So we'll be having a series of classes on this. Now, my choice of starting with matrices is very important because matrices is one aspect of mathematics, one aspect of what we call linear algebra, which has found many applications in every aspect of life, especially in these days when we talk about tech. So I know this is going to be very useful for you. So let's go on. What is a matrix? That's the first thing. A matrix is simply a two-dimensional array of numbers. So it is two-dimensional array of numbers. So it can be numbers, it can be symbols, and it can be expressions. And they are arranged in rows and columns. When you hear about rows and columns, then of course I know that will remind you of spreadsheets like the ones you find in packages like Microsoft Excel, SPSS, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, you're already seeing that it's coming home. So you are already using matrices probably without even knowing it. Now, that's as far as the definition goes. So let's look at the components of a matrix. Imagine you have a matrix A. You have a matrix A, this. So you have this matrix, which I call A. And, we've talked about, the definition. It's two-dimensional. So two-dimensional means that you have something this way and probably you have something this way. So that's two-dimensional. Okay. Now, talking about the components of a matrix, you need to know about the elements of a matrix, which are the individual entries of a matrix. So in this case, the individual entries of this matrix are 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Triangle, rectangle, and star. So those are the elements of this matrix. Now that you have talked about the elements, then what about the rows and columns we talked about previously? Interestingly, you should understand that the rows of a matrix are the sets of elements on horizontal lines. So these elements, 1, 2, 3, will form row 1. These elements, A, B, C, form row 2. And the elements, triangle, rectangle, and star, form row 3. So those are the rows. So the rows are basically the horizontal lines of a matrix. On the other hand, we talk about the columns of a matrix, and they are the sets of elements on the vertical lines. So you have 1A triangle as column 1 in this matrix. You have 2B rectangle as column 2 of this matrix. And you have 3C star as column 3 of this matrix. So those are the components of a matrix. So you have the elements, the rows, and the columns. So from that, we go to the next thing, which is about the notations of a matrix. The notations of a matrix can be considered in two forms. Talk about the dimensions. The dimensions are simply the rows multiplied by the columns. So you dimension a matrix, it's more like the naming for a matrix. So for instance, what is the dimension of matrix A? So because matrix A has 3 rows, row 1, row 2, and row 3. So you say 3 by, then it also has 3 columns, column 1, column 2, and column 3. As a result of that, you can say A is a 3 by 3 matrix. So So this simply implies that A is a 3 by 3 matrix. All right. So then talking about the entries are referenced according to the position of the row and the column. For instance, if I ask you, what is the position of C? Then what you just do is to say that C is the element referenced as A. It belongs to row 2, and then it belongs to column 3. So you can say that the element A23 is equal to C. On the other hand, what if I ask you for the location of B? Okay, let me say triangle. So let's say triangle. So triangle it belongs to matrix A, and matrix A belongs to row 3 and column 1. So you can say that A31 is the triangle. So that's about dimensions and entries, which sum up to the notations of a matrix. So if I tell you to do, maybe in the comment section, you can just write something on your paper and then show it in the comment section. If I tell you to give me examples of maybe a 3 by 4 matrix, a 2 by 3 matrix, and a 5 by 7 matrix, 3 by 4, 2 by 3, and 5 by 7. Hope I got that right. Okay, so that talks about the notations associated with matrices. So let's go ahead to talk about, to summarize everything we have learned today. So in summary, you see that if you have to represent a 4 by 4 matrix, following the ideas we have gone through, then you see that in row 1, you have these elements A11, A12, A13, A14, and you also have row 2, A21, A22, A23, A24. You have row 3, and you have row 4 like that. Then you also have you have column 1, A11, A11, A21, A31, A41. That's column 1. Column 2 is A12, A22, A32, A42. And then, of course, you have column 3 like that and column 4 like that. And because we have 4 rows and 4 columns, then you can say that this matrix is a 4 by 4 matrix. Thank you so much for listening. Watch out for the next video.